Okay guys, welcome to today's video. We are doing a final update to the Chaos Bone Shatter build, and we have managed to kill a Deathless Simulacrum, Deathless Cirrus, basically the game has been completed, and importantly all of the challenges have been completed on this character apart from the combining ones, which are a little bit RNG. So if you're looking for a character that can do all of the challenges without paying anybody, or you just want to try it, you can do. I can safely say it can do all of the challenges. So what did we change? We've done a Deathless Simulacrum. That went really well, a complete breeze. The reason I built the character the way I did was specifically for Crucible League. This isn't like some speed farmer or an Uber killer, it's just a build designed for Crucible. We know that Crucible monsters are super tanky. On this build I've yet to die to the Crucible monsters. I've also done 100% Delirious map with 100% Crucible inside tier 16, and I was able to clear that comfortably as well. So the whole idea, it's a build that you can play and actually, you know, tab out in and not worry about a little lag spike or a moment where you've got to reply to a trade, because sometimes the bow builds, yeah, they get a little bit hectic, they get a little bit difficult to contend with everything that's going on. So if I pull you into the POB, because there's obviously, you know, there's gameplay in the previous video if you want to see, we've improved it a little bit. With the POB, this is the tree that I've settled on. Again, you are able to go down to Panopticon if you want to head down this route, but I've decided to get the Warcry because it just feels good, and I've got rid of the damaging ailments with the Warcry to help keep me alive. There are some flexible nodes here, but this is the tree that I've gone for. The Megalomaniac has the +2 fire res, and it does have the explode, which I do think is nice, but you can also get ones that have Culling Strike or mace damage or another node there if you want, but this is the one that I settled on and it seems pretty decent. The big change to the build came from adding in a Forbidden Flesh, so I was able to finally save this up, and if I pull up Awaken Trade here for you guys, and let me just, there we go, you'll be able to see the price. Now I paid 10 divines total for these, and I haven't price checked them in quite a few days really, so I'll see what they're worth right now. This is 3 divines, and this one is 22 divines. Wow, what? There must not be a lot of people online, because that definitely was not 22 divines, but that was the upgrade that I made. The reason is it basically is giving us this node here onto the tree, which gives us a ton of fire res, fizz taken as fire, and recovery rate if you've taken damage. And this basically allowed me to go from around 100 stacks, and around 100 stacks of bone shatter or trauma is where I began to take a lot of self damage, to honestly 200, 210. Now if I do my configuration, when I have 210 trauma stacks, which I actually have reached and I've been fine, and I press Berserk, I have 15 mil damage. It's not very often that happens. That is when you are literally head on just meleeing a boss for eternity and then you ramp up, but it's totally not uncommon to have 100 bone shatter stacks running around mapping with 20-30 rage, and at that point with Berserk up you're going to have, you know, 4 mil damage if you take off Berserk. Where do we do that? If we take off Berserk, 3 million damage. And 3 million damage is enough to do the game, if anybody understands how the game works. And we have, with Berserk up, so, and that's when you're really trying to be tanky and you're meleeing somebody and you've got your Berserk up, we're going to have 500k effective hit pool. So a huge hit pool, which allows us to actually brainlessly play the game. Now this is important because certain builds are good for certain things. This generically does nothing well. It doesn't do legions, it doesn't do breach, it doesn't do AoE well, it doesn't do single target well, but overall you get to experience the entire game and never really have to worry about dying, and that in itself is what it does well. What I mean is, for me and maybe you guys, when you play PoE nowadays, there's so much stuff: ground degen, explosions, bearers, voodoo totems, there's everything going on. You have to be fully concentrated and on it to not die. And maybe you're not bothered about dying. If you're not bothered about dying, then yeah, this build isn't for you. But if dying does annoy you, and that kind of aspect of having to perma-focus annoys you, this is really decent because you can switch your brain off and actually get into that. And I hate the phrase flow state. Basically meaning you're just playing the game like old PoE. You've got a nice tanky build, you're clearing packs, you've got a bit of AoE with the explosions. There's nothing that can kill you, and there's nothing you can't really kill. Basically, well, yeah, you can kill everything. It just takes a lot of time sometimes. But you can just brainlessly switch off and enjoy playing the game. And that's why I've been playing this league so much, is because it's been such a nice rounded build. So the changes we've made is I'll link the POB down below so you can have a detailed look yourself. If you want to know how all the gems work, check out the previous video. Basically, the thing we've changed is the chaos rings we sold, and because we have that extra fire res, I managed to get rid of the fire res off gloves, made some new gloves. So I made these, got a strength base, used a chaos essence until we hit a tier 1 cold res, and then we just used eldritch chaos until we hit life. I'm using non-Val skills target an extra enemy instead of rage, because when I'm mapping I have pretty much full rage anyway. When I don't have the rage on my gloves, this allows me to have the Val skills again, and that means I splash everywhere. So what it basically does is it means my strike skills have melee splash because of Tribal Fury on the tree that we take down here. And then I'm going to hit another 2 places, and it just makes clearing great. It's really good for Delve, this build. If you've ever wanted to experience Delve, this is a great build for it. So because we were able to shift our reses, we swapped that fire for this cold res, which meant we could change our rings a little bit, and we managed to make these rings. What I did was I got a fracture on a chaos ring, and then I spammed chaos orbs, I believe, until I hit damage recoup with the resistance that I needed. Could also use a resistance essence, I guess. And then this one again was strength essences with a fractured chaos res until we hit damage recoup, and then I'm buffing them up with life and mana catalysts. So now we have a ton of damage recoup, we have 20 extra fizz taken, and we're still with this Watcher's Eye. You could get a triple Watcher's Eye, or maybe something a little bit better, maybe Vitality life gained on hit or Vitality regen, but basically, yeah, that has allowed us to go from being a bit dodgy at 100 stacks to being able to ramp up to 200 stacks. Or what you can do is you can level up your Bone Shatter. So the reason it's level 5, if you're wondering, because a few people asked, level 5 you get +1 again, and then another +1, so it's actually level 8, and we take damage, extra fizz damage per trauma and attack speed per trauma. So when you have 200 stacks, you're going to have a load of attack speed. But if you're to look here on our configurations, let's say we have 50 stacks, right? We have 2 mil damage, and then we go and level up our gem, let's say, because we can take a bit more damage than the last one. We want to put our thing up to maybe level 10 or something. You can get a little bit more damage there, but the reason we kind of don't have to have a high level Bone Shatter is because our damage is chaos, and this basically is giving extra fizz damage per level. And there's like this breakpoint where if you are level 8, which is this level, the extra damage per trauma becomes 3% more per trauma instead of 2% more. So leveling it up a lot more doesn't really do much for us. Yeah. if that makes sense. I've been trying to double corrupt some stuff. This was the best one we came up with. We got a crit reduction chest with fizz reduction while stationary. I just made that yesterday. This was the old ring. You can see that we swapped to this one. You can also do things like this, you see. This is another base triple tier 1 with life. I mean, again, I could have worn this helmet and then kept the gloves, swap them around that way. The only other thing that really is to note is obviously you can get a really good tree. If you get one of these with +4 to max fire res, it means you can drop Molten One's Mark and these two, and then that changes the whole tree. But the plus max res on those shields is mega expensive, 50, 100 divine, so I'm not doing that. But it's an option, obviously, if you get rich. So's a Mage Blood, Mage Blood win game, you know how it is. The last thing I've been trying to do, and it's been expensive and it's been a bit of a pain and we've not really got anywhere, is I've been turning in these maces over and over again to try and get something good. This is the best we've got. Global damage, attack speed and global damage, so that cancels each other out. So we have 40 attack speed and then +2 range. Now, I am not sure on the whole piecing things together tech, but we have one here somewhere which is like global attack speed. We have one somewhere or other. We have a strength node here, so maybe I could slam this 4th strength node onto there's another one that I've got somewhere that's very similar to this one. I'll find it somewhere, but yeah, I've been trying to basically make a somewhat decent mace, and it's been failing. This is the one. So we've got increased attack, increased attributes, global damage, attack speed, less global damage, and then obviously these two nodes could be something. I've tried to merge it once, and it kept these two nodes, and these two nodes changed into something janky. I'm not too sure on how to merge things. Maybe I'll give it another go, but for now I'll probably just end up sticking on that and enchanting some more weapon range on it and getting it 30 quality in Hillock or something like that. The belt is just a strength based belt, nothing too fancy, and yeah, that's it really. If you want to go crazy, you could get extra curse on an ashes and then enchant something else. The thing is, every little bit of damage helps because we are low on damage, but it's able to do wave 30 simulacrums. It can kill uber bosses, so it's not too painful, and it maps pretty well, to be honest. It's just nice not having to worry about dying all the time. So that's kind of where we are with the build. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you've got any questions, just leave a comment in the stream. If you want to know about flasks, because we have so much damage recoup, basically I can't die unless it's a one shot, so having a life flask seems a bit pointless. So I've just got an extra granite flask for move speed. I've got armor, charges when hit. I could get rid of this armor and go for a bottled faith, or I could go for maybe curse reduction. This just has charges when hit and damage taken is leached as life. I don't even know if that's great. I just tried it. We have immunity to shock and then attack speed. These are interchangeable. It just kind of depends what content you do, and sometimes I'll swap them about. But yeah, I actually got lucky on this one because I veiled the cold and lightning damage, which does nothing for us. So I was like, I'm going to have to spend another couple divines to re-roll it. And I exalted life. Some good tech. Okay, for those that have stayed till the end, thank you very much. You're going to get a nice little piece of tech. Let me know in the comments below if you didn't know about this, because it's pretty decent. If you've got 3 suffixes and you don't want them to be changed, you can go to your bench and do suffixes can't be changed. However, that costs 2 divines. If you go to the trade website and buy a wild bristled matron, that only costs a divine orb. And what that does is it adds a random modifier from the crafting bench to your ring. A meta craft, should I say. However, we can't do prefixes, can't be changed, and the other one, because our suffixes are full, so every time it has to add, suffixes can't be changed. So I've just been getting triple suffix gear and then doing suffix can't be changed with one of those matrons, and then doing that. I didn't figure that out. It was a guy in my Twitch chat called Jonas. Shout out to you, Jonas, if you're watching. That was a big help. So yeah, that's where we're at. I've really enjoyed the build. I'm probably going to retire this build, maybe just use it for delving and chilled out mapping. I'm going to try and make a ranger, I think. But yeah, that is kind of it for this build. Hopefully you've enjoyed that and that helps.